Once again, we begin this issue as before with another tale being shared to this impressionable young child. This one in particular is not related to Lady Y like the ones before. This one is about Nebiros, the blue demon, and Etrigan, the demon of the rhyme, as you people know him, because he be rapping when he talks. I just found out, by the way, that he is not bound to be rhyming. He just does it to irritate people, and I think I saw that on the Fire and Ice series that is going on right now. But anyway, just a little lore nugget there for you, if you will. Back to this. At one point, these two demons had a battle all over the fires of hell, with Etrigan coming out on top. After claiming victory, Etrigan became a little too excited. This yellow demonic poet skinned Nebiros and tossed the skin on the Acheron River. Not sure how to pronounce that. Instead of being lost forever in the depths of hell, it made its way to the world of the living. Inevitably, as you may know, this same demon skin ended up in the wardrobe of a movie set in Hollywood. The same movie set where one Daniel Cassidy was working as a stuntman. Eventually, that stuntman became permanently glued to this costume and he became known as the superhero Blue Devil. I covered that in previous episodes. You can check out the details in the playlist at the end of this video, but this sort of retcons what happens prior Cassidy running into the Blue Devil costume, basically. Not that particularly changes anything, but it adds even more to the origin story of Cassidy, right? Like, how the costume made it to, the world. Well, previously, this is what happened. Pretty cool there, addition to the lore by Campbell, the writer of this series. We go back to the astral plane to Zatanna and Clayface, or what's left of him anyways. Basil was pleading for his life while Zatanna was barely regaining her composure. Three things came out from this confusing conversation. Clayface's sword is effectively removed from him. Zatanna blasted Clayface into a million pieces. That's probably why he's having a hard time materializing bigger than this little piece of sludge. Secondly, he was working for Lady Y, and in return, she was supposed to give him his family back. Lastly, Zatanna found the letter Lady Y left her, but the letter was blank. Without any clue of what's going on, Zatanna's first move was to escape the astral plane back to Adam's apartment, where she found his body, or more like some cursed substitution or a husk of Adam's body anyway. What also happened in Adam's apartment? Well, Zatanna decided she was going solo, so she chained up Blue Devil and left him stranded until she returned. Unfortunately for Blue Devil, somebody else showed up to Adam's apartment before Zatanna. Who showed up? Well, the actual bad guy from this whole story and a sworn enemy of Zatanna, Brother Knight. So here's a recap of Zatanna's current situation. Her most recent higher employee, Adam, stabbed her with a cursed light sword that's still affecting her magic, or her ability to use her magic. Her longtime friend and fellow crime fighter, Blue Devil, have been taken by Brother Knight. The famous Lady Y, a pioneer legend from the show business, have been working behind the scenes to turn Clayface against Zatanna, and all of these was orchestrated by Brother Knight, as you will see here in a second. From there, we go back to the Crimson Palace nightclub, the headquarters for one Brother Knight and the hottest spot in town. Also, probably the establishment that's been taking the customers away from the Oblivion Bar. There, we see Lady Y and Brother Knight reunited for the second time. Here's where we get to see pretty clear that Brother Knight not only is the one in charge, but Lady Y is being coerced to comply with Brother Knight's every demand. I'm going to take a wild guess here, but this is probably because at some point she made a deal with Brother Knight during the height of her career in Hollywood that's come back to cash in on her. Also, there was Blue Devil's unconscious body being prepped for a light sword. It seemed the skin of Nebiros was too strong to be pierced by one of those light swords, so they would need to come up with a new plan for the Blue Devil. From the Crimson Palace, we go to the Shadow Crest, the magical home of Zatanna. There, Zatanna was doing whatever she could to remove the cursed sword from her torso, but all her efforts were for naught. The sword was staying put. Not only that, but Zatanna was starting to crack from the inside out. Finally, she finds this book and we get confirmation that the little girl from the tales being shared in the beginning of every issue are Zatanna and her mother Cindela, and this is the book her mother used to read to her. As she became overwhelmed with emotion and probably nostalgia too, she received an unexpected visit from her stage crew. They are Mikey, Andre, and Arnie, and they brought food and good vibes. Zatanna was all down in blue, so she stated it was a mistake to assemble the crew. You know, kind of like what started this whole run to begin with. She felt some sort of responsibility for all that had happened since she announced her return to stage performing. I'm sorry to say this, but she has a point. It's been nothing but a straight shit show since they did their first rehearsal. But on the other hand, I don't put the blame on Zatanna, and neither did her crew. They were not having it, and they did their best to gas Zatanna up with words of admiration and praise, such as calling her the Princess of Prestidigitation, Weaver of Wonders, Mistress of Magic, and many others. Just in case you're wondering what Prestidigitation means, it refers to magic tricks performed using the hands. I had to look it up myself. In any case, shout out to the stage crew for having Zatanna's back. Regardless, Arnie says something about Zatanna's words turning nightmares into miracles, and that set off a light bulb in Zatanna's head. Zatanna went to sleep so she could dream that nightmare where she was tied to the bottom of the lighthouse we saw in issue 2, when suddenly a little creepy demon appeared. Fuseli, Lord of Nightmares, is a small greenish demon who feeds on people's fears and turns their dreams into nightmares. Fuseli was created by Paul Dini and Stéphane Roux, and he made his first appearance in Zatanna's series from 2010. Quick fun fact here, even though I have no proof of this, I am in the belief that Fuseli the demon character was inspired or loosely based on the demon from the Nightmare painting by the artist Henry Fuseli. I mean, the coincidences are uncanny. The painting is called The Nightmare, there's a demon preying on a sleeping woman, and it was created by someone named Fuseli. I actually met Stéphane Roux in Denver Fan Expo 2024. If I meet him again, I'll ask him about this so we can get some confirmation. So back to the story. Zatanna and Fuseli have some shared history. In their first encounter, Fuseli broke inside the Shadow Crest to feed on Zatanna's nightmares while she slept. That didn't go well for the Green Devil. Later, they actually worked together to unlock some repressed memories from Zatanna's subconsciousness. I'm going on a tangent here, but since Zatanna brought it up in a way to solicit the help of Fuseli, I think it matters to have that context. This was a pretty crazy story. I'm going to try my best to explain it. First thing first, this took place on issue number 8 of the Paul Dini run. Zatanna had this obscure memory from when she was a child. The way she remembers it is that she witnessed somebody commit a murder, and then the obscure figure came after her, and that's when it cuts off. That's kind of like, the nightmare. So after trying therapy without any success, Zatanna went the magical route. She went looking for Fuseli and recruited him to help her unlock her memories from those nightmares. Since she had dreamed about that moment before, Fuseli could take her to that specific dream and unlock whatever was being repressed by her subconsciousness. This is where things got messy. Zatanna learned the truth about what really happened. There used to be this puppeteer named Oscar Hempel. At one point, he used to be very popular, appearing regularly on TV and whatnot. But then one day, he just disappeared. So what happened was, Mr. Hempel had gone mad. He attacked Zatanna backstage, and her father, the great Giovanni Zatanna, stopped him. How did he take care of this assailant attempting to harm his daughter, you ask? Giovanni turned Hempel into a puppet. Yeah, the great Giovanni Zatanna had a mean streak. I think you might have put the rest together. Giovanni used magic to make little Zatanna forget this ever happened. Finally, this is what Zatanna was talking about Fuseli abandoning her. During the dream, she became paralyzed, and Fuseli told her it was because something was happening to her body while she slept, so he just left her. What happened to her? The puppet of Oscar Hempel had invaded her home and was coming for his pound of flesh from the Zatanna family tree. that is the story between Zatanna and Fuseli, more or less. Back to the lighthouse. Zatanna had fallen asleep on purpose to lure in Fuseli. At first, the green demon thought he hit the jackpot, finding Zatanna tied down and magicless in a dream of all places. However, Zatanna warned him she was still very capable, just in case he had any ideas. Regardless, she wanted to ask him a few questions. First, what was the deal with the lighthouse dream? So according to Fuseli, this was a dream so powerful it was giving him pause. Second question was about the sword. What was the deal with this thing being stuck on her chest? Here's the twist. The sword was just an illusion, like a distraction. The real magic was concentrated in the lighthouse inside this dream. The visual of the sword stuck on her chest was more of an inconvenience than anything else. So imagine you believe there's something stuck in your hand, right? You will not move your hand as you normally would because of it. So same concept applies here to this light sword. Then Fuseli gets his hand on the letter left by Lady White, and to Zatanna's surprise, Fuseli could actually read the letter. There was some sort of spell stopping Zatanna from reading it herself. Long story short, it was an invitation from Brother Knight and Lady White, some festivities taking place at the Crimson Palace nightclub. Did I say festivities? No, let me correct that. Brother Knight was hosting a freaking rave called the Night of Desires at the Crimson Palace. The attendees were there to party and worship Brother Knight. Also, I forgot to mention this in previous episodes before, Brother Knight's real name is Eldon Peck. His powers are magic-based, and he is what you would call a necromancer. In layman terms, he can summon the dead and even demons and control them to an extent. But all that aside, Zatanna pulled up with her aura reserves fully charged to crash Brother Knight's night party. She tried being reasonable and nicely asked Brother Knight to release her friends. You know, give me my friends and I'll leave you have your party in peace. But that was Lady White's cue to reveal tonight's surprise. Blue Devil's streak of bad luck was not over yet. Zatanna tried going to him, but she was intercepted by Adam's corpse that for some reason was now some sort of necromancer assassin, probably Brother Knight's fault. While Zatanna was occupied with Adam, Lady White shot this magical arrow into the back of Blue Devil's head. Zatanna managed to stop Adam by putting him in a block of ice, but that was now the least of her worries because Daniel Cassidy's Blue Devil suit had completely transformed into the original owner, the Blue Demon Nebiros. Side note, shout out to Jamal Campbell because he did a great job at drawing the Nebiros monster inside the Blue Devil skin, if that makes sense. Yeah, sure, there is a slight retcon of Nebiros' origin with how it all went down with Etrigan. This is still an homage to Gary Cohn, Dan Mishkin, Harris Cullins, and Pablo Marcos and Tom Ziuko. During the chaos, Zatanna started to hear two separate voices. One was from some intrusive thoughts she'd been having throughout this whole ordeal, but the second one was the voice from who I presume is Cindela, her mother, and at that moment, Zatanna was literally cracking into pieces due to the sword stuck in her chest, or rather the magic connected to the lighthouse from her dream. But Zatanna had enough. She grabbed the sword and started to pull it out. No magic, no tricks, no sleight of hand, just pure guts. And guts, it's all it took. Zatanna was now free of the cursed sword, and she was breaking someone or something into pieces. Who or what got cracked into pieces? We will find out on the next issue. I see this as an absolute love letter to Paul Dini and the others from that 2010 run from Jamal Campbell. There's so much from that run, like, you know, the stage crew, Fuseli, Brother Knight. Clearly, Jamal Campbell is a fan of Zatanna, and I'm pretty happy and satisfied with the work done so far. So, you know, shout out to Jamal Campbell and Ariana Maher for making this series as awesome as it is. Thank you for watching, have a blessed day, and remember to read more comics.